what is the point?
Still got reporter's block then, Matt?
Yeah, I don't know, I just can't seem to write anything decent these days.
Well, look, you used to be one of our best journalists at Angelica Herald, Matt, and I've seen your stuff and I know you can do it.
That's the frustrating thing. I know I can do it as well. I don't know, ever since I wrote my book, it's just like nothing else has captured my imagination in that way. I don't know, it just doesn't seem to work.
Was that your own book about the fall of mankind and the exit of Adam and Eve from the Garden of Eden?
Yeah, Paradise Lost. Anyway, ever since I wrote that, I don't know, it's just, my brain's not worked in the same way. It's just like the words won't coalesce with the quagmire that's my mind.
Well, you're still using fancy words that I don't understand, so you can't have lost everything. Look, I just think you just need to find something to inspire you again, something to get you really excited. And when you do that, it'll all start flowing again. Look, when you were writing that book of yours, you were like a man possessed. You were single-minded, focused. Nothing would stop you, and I seem to remember you even tried to fire me at one point for suggesting you take a break. And then you remember that I'm your boss, not the other way around?
Yeah, I mean, it's all well and good talking about inspiration, but I just can't seem to find any at the moment. I mean, I feel like spectacular things used to be happening all the time. Like, do you remember when I wrote that story, Let Sleeping Lions Lie? The one about that guy who spent the whole night in the lion's den and survived? That was incredible. I felt like things like that used to be happening all the time, but it just feels like nothing like that's happened in 400 years.
Yeah, that's been a while. But look, something's come up. A story's come in, and I've just got a feeling in my gut that it's a good one. That's why I came, actually. I wanted you to take a look at it.
I don't know. If it's that good, wouldn't you rather have someone that's producing good stuff at the moment?
Well, I want the best on it, Matt. I just got a feeling in my bones that this could be the story of a lifetime, if not the whole of time. And I don't want someone good on it. I want the best on it. And besides, I think this might be just what you need to get out of that funk you've been in. So what do you say?
I don't know.
Look, give it a month. Have a go. And if in a month's time you still aren't feeling it, then we can reassess whether you're the right person for the job.
Let me guess. It's just this story about Herod and his supposed baby-killing policy.
No. It's not a takedown, but it could be as groundbreaking.
Okay, you've got my interest. What's it about then?
Well, I had this conversation with this guy, by chance, from Judea, a priest, and his wife, well, he was shut about it actually, but his wife was so excited, and a close relative of his wife have both given birth to spectacular children.
Is that all? Come on, every parent thinks their kid's spectacular.
Well, it might be nothing. It might be nothing, but I've just got a feeling in my gut that there's something there.
Okay, I'm not as convinced about all this as you are, but you're right, I've got nothing else going for me, so I might as well give it a go.
Great! Well, I'll get cracking, get everything sorted, and make sure you've got somewhere to stay.
Yeah, it's better. I don't want this to be like last time.
Oh, come on. How many times do I have to apologise for that? I needed somebody at the census taking, and how was I supposed to know there wouldn't be any room left in the inns?
Yeah, just don't let it happen again.
I won't. Anyway, see you in a month's time. Give it your best. Oh, and Matt, keep an open mind with this one. All right?
Reporter fella that I spoke to. Do come on in, you're letting the cold air in.
Thank you. You must be Zachary.
Well, I'm not exactly Zachary, I'm Zechariah. Do sit down. Can I get you a drink or anything?
No, it's fine, Zach, thanks. I just wanted to ask you a few questions about these rumours that I hear you've been spreading.
Okay, yeah, ask away.
Okay, well, first of all, congratulations on the birth of your son.
Well, thank you. Yeah, we're very proud of him. Except for he keeps trying to eat the bugs in the garden, but I'm sure he'll grow out of that.
How cute. Forgive me for saying so, but you seem a lot older than I thought you would be.
Believe me, I was surprised as you were when God first told me that, not to mention that the fact that my wife is she's barren. We'd long given up hope of ever having a child ourselves.
That is incredible, but what do you mean when you say when God first told you? Are you telling me that God told you were going to get pregnant?
Well, I am. Well, not directly. He sent a messenger, an angel named Gabriel fella. He showed up when I was serving in the temple, and he told me my Elizabeth was going to conceive a child.
Yeah, I reported on another story like this a while back, some bloke called Abraham. So a similar thing where God kind of told him he was going to conceive as well. I was a little bit dubious about it because the fellow then went and got both his wife and his wife's servant pregnant. So to be honest with you, it feels to me a little bit like having your cake and eating it too. So I was a little dubious about it all. You can read about the story if you want. It's in an article I wrote called 2 for the Price of Son.
Oh, I was as doubtful as you were at first, and I told that angel so. I said, I think you got the wrong bloke, mate. My wife, she's well past it, her best, and I'm no spring chicken myself, so Gabriel, he didn't seem to like that much. All of a sudden, it was like my jaw, it wired shut. No matter how much I tried, I just couldn't say a word. And then he told me that was because of my doubt. He said I wouldn't be able to speak until after my son was born. And that would prove him right.
What did your wife make of all that?
Well, when I finally got around to being able to tell her, well, by writing it down, of course, she couldn't stop laughing. You see, she always used to say that I spoke too much. She said, God given you 2 ears and 1 mouth, and so you ought to be listening twice as much as you talk. And that's because I did used to talk a lot, you know.
You used to talk a lot. Does that mean you're better at that now?
Well, definitely. You don't go through an experience like this without learning the importance of paying attention.
I see. And you say his angel told you your son was going to be special?
Well, it's not actually my son that's special. The angel said that my son was to prepare the way for the special one who was coming.
I see. So, who is the special one then?
Well, his cousin. You see, my wife's relative, now she got pregnant just a few months after us. Now he is the Son of God.
But I thought you said he was the son of your wife's relative. How can he be the son of God?
Well, he is, but she was like a virgin. And God gave him to her.
This seems a bit dubious. Do you have any evidence?
Well, we already knew that John, our son, he was to prepare the way for the Messiah. And while Mary, while she was pregnant, she came to visit us. And as she was arriving, she waved out a greeting to say hello. And at that moment, our son John, still in his mother's womb, started to jump for joy. Wow, that convinced us this really was the Messiah that we've been promised.
But come on, babies shift around in the womb all the time. You can't be telling me that has to be proof of God.
When it came to the 8th day after he was born, we went to get him circumcised and named, like we do. And everyone was a bit baffled because we wanted to call him John rather than after me. So they came to us and they said, why do you want to do that? There's no one in your family called John. Well, they came to find me and I was thinking, well, Gabriel, he told us that he wanted us to call him John. So God wanted that. So I got my tablet and I wrote out and I said, John. I want to call him John. And at that moment, my jaw just like loosened. It was amazing. It was amazing. I could speak again. And to be honest with you, until that point, I did wonder whether I dreamt the whole thing. It was quite strange. But yeah, at that point, I was so excited. I could burst into song. It's a beautiful day.
Okay, wow. I see. Well, thank you for that. That's probably all the questions I need to ask you for now. But
Okay.
I was just wondering, do you think maybe I could have your wife's relatives contact Mary?
Oh yeah, Mary. Yeah. The details are just here somewhere. I'll scribble them on this piece of paper, and there you go. Yeah, I'm sure she'll be pleased to see you.
Oh, well, thank you very much for your time.
Well, you're welcome, young man. And send her my love. Bye.
I was looking for Mary, but that's not you, I'm guessing?
No, I'm Joseph. Mary sent her apologies. She's feeling a bit under the weather, morning sickness.
Ah, so she's pregnant again then?
Yeah, she certainly is, and this time it's ours.
Wow, so you still married her even though she had a kid with someone else?
Well, it's a bit different when that someone else is God.
You buy that whole story, do you?
Of course I did. I was there, we were engaged when it happened.
But how can you be so sure of it?
Look, I can see where you're coming from. Believe me, at first I thought the same as you do. You know, I was considering my options. I didn't want to publicly embarrass her, so I was thinking of, divorcing her quietly, you know? But then, an angel appeared to me and basically confirmed Mary's story.
Oh, let me guess, this angel's name was Gabriel?
That's right. And Gabriel told me that Mary had been blessed with this baby by the Holy Spirit.
I don't know, that all seems a bit suspect to me, not to mention convenient.
Believe me, it didn't feel convenient at the time. Anyway, Gabriel also told me that this baby was going to take away the sins of mankind and be the saviour of the whole world. And he told me to call the baby Jesus. Well, you know, I woke up and everything had changed. I immediately went to marry Mary because, well, she was faithful to me and to God, and that's the sort of woman I wanted to marry.
You make it all sound so simple.
Believe me, it was anything but simple. There was a lot of talking going on behind my back.
But that's the story you stuck with, though?
Oh yes, I definitely believe it. I mean, I was there, we were engaged, that's what happened.
But how do you know it wasn't all just a dream? You know, like, I have dreams that I'm flying. Am I supposed to believe that God wants me to fly?
Look, you've come here to ask all these questions, but to be honest, it sounds like you've just already made up your mind what you believe. You know, you imply my wife's a lie, you infer that I was going along with it, or that, you know, the things that I say happened didn't happen even though you weren't even there. I mean, I understand this story sounds impossible, but believe me, it did happen. I don't know what else to tell you, because it seems to me whatever I say, you've already made up your mind.
So what do you suggest then?
Well, just try keeping an open mind. I mean, by all means keep exploring it, but try to follow the story to where it leads you. I mean, it is a pretty amazing story, but only if you let it be.
Okay, I'll play along. So, you got married. What happened next?
Well, it was the time of the census, so we went down to Bethlehem.
Yeah, I reported on that. It was in my article, The Population Parade.
Yeah, actually I think I read that. It was very good.
Oh, thank you. I heard that you went all that way on donkey as well. There was even a rumour that the donkey talked.
Yeah, we did travel on a donkey, but no, it didn't talk.
Oh, because I did hear another story about a donkey that could talk.
Really? That's the part you believe?
Well, in my experience, parents brag about their kids a lot, but I've never met anyone who brags about their donkey.
Well, you know, if you won't believe my story because of, parental bias, then I'll tell you what. Here's the address of the place where Jesus was born. There's a lot of people down there that met him, a lot of people still around that knew him. Might you head down there and ask some questions?
Yeah, I think I might do that. Thank you very much.
Okay. Oh, and Matt,
Yeah?
try to keep an open mind.
Hi!
Hi, are you the owner here?
That's right, I'm the innkeeper. Well, don't just stand there. You'll get chilled. Come on in.
It's very nice to meet you. My name's Matt. I'm a reporter.
Ah, so you must be here to talk about the best inn in the whole of Bethlehem. No, I'm joking.
No, I'm actually here to ask you about a couple that I think stayed here a couple of years ago.
I don't know if I'm going to be able to help with that for it's been a while. But can you give me any more information?
So it was the year of the census. So he actually came because he's a descendant of David, so he's here to register on the census. And his wife was really pregnant.
Why didn't you say so sooner? Of course I remember them. Mary and Joseph. They were nice enough to stand out on their own, of course. And that boy, wow, even as a babe, you could just tell by looking at him.
Tell what?
That he was so special.
People keep saying that. Special how?
At the moment I laid eyes on him,
so calmly in that manger. It's like all my worries ebbed away. And it felt this peace like I'd never understood before. It was just magical almost.
What do you mean he was lying in a manger?
Well, as you said, it was the year of the census, so it was a bit busy. Everyone was around, travelling back to the census. By the time they showed up, we were actually already full.
So you just sent them away?
Initially, yes. There was no way I could squeeze them in. And between you and me, I didn't look the sort of people that could, make it worth it if I tried. But I told them they couldn't stay, and they took it well. But then there was this look in their eyes. They both just looked so exhausted. I couldn't turn them away, especially with her, which was about to burst. I told them they could use the stable, and almost as soon as she walked in there, the baby decided it was time to come.
So she gave birth in the stable, right there amongst the animals?
I was as shocked as you are. In all my years.
I must say, I'm very impressed with how accommodating you were about it all. Wasn't all the fuss and noise a complete nuisance to you?
Of course not! It was the least I could do for a couple in need.
It's funny, you weren't at all what I was expecting.
Let me guess. You were expecting some grumpy, bossy innkeeper that only cared about money and making sure things never bothered him again.
Well, kind of.
See, you're not the first to come asking about that boy. As I said, one look at him and you knew he was special. You'd want to know everything you could. He was the sort of person that I suspect stories will follow wherever he goes. Once people hear that when the parents of that child died, that they had to give birth in the stable, they'll assume it was the doing of a very grumpy innkeeper. But no, that was all an exaggeration. I actually feel really bad about it.
So the boy, he really is the special? I mean, his father kept saying that, but I know how funny parents can be about their kids. I wrote this article once about this one parent who loved one of his kids so much more than the others that he bought them a really nice coat that all the others were jealous of it. So much so that they staged his death. It's called Dream Coat Nightmare Situation.
I know what you mean, but this really is the real deal. I must say, it's refreshing to talk to someone who actually almost believes me. Most people dismiss it as me being overworked and exhausted when it happened, and thinking I saw something just because of how tired I was.
Well, I wouldn't say I'm convinced just yet.
No, and I wouldn't say you were either. I do have a friend though, he's a shepherd nearby. We actually met on that night. We stayed in touch ever since, and he supplies this place with fresh wool blankets when we need them. You should go and see him and hear what he has to say about it all.
Why? What's his story?
Well, I'll leave that for him to tell. Anyway, it's been a pleasure, but I've got to get back to work.
Thanks for your help. No.
Oh, hello. Sorry, I didn't see you there.
No worries. Are you the one I'm looking for?
Oh, well, that's a very interesting question. Who are you looking for?
Are you the shepherd that was there when Jesus was born?
Well, not at the birth, but yes, that was me. At least I was one of them.
One of them? Was there a whole group of you then?
Yeah, there were quite a few of us, yeah.
That's really interesting. How did you hear about it?
An angel told us about it.
Let me guess. Gabriel?
That's the guy.
He really gets around, doesn't he?
I don't know about that. But there were a lot of us there. Other angels were there as well.
Really? That's not what I've heard before.
Well, I know it sounds unbelievable, but trust me, if I hadn't been there myself and someone told me this story, I'd tell you that they spent a few many days out in the wilderness by themselves. But it's all true.
So, what exactly happened then?
Well, we were sat there washing our socks.
You were washing your socks?
Yeah, we'll always wash our socks, don't we? Anyway, we were sat there watching over our flocks. And suddenly, there was this brilliant light shining all around. It took a moment for our eyes to adjust, you know. But once they did, there was the most beautiful person stood there in the centre of it all. He told us that the Saviour had been born in the town of David. Suddenly, a whole heavenly host appeared, with Gabriel, all praising God. Well, as soon as they cleared off, we upped and hightailed it to Bethlehem as though the wolves themselves were behind us.
And when you got there, how did you know you found the right baby? I'm sure there were loads around.
Gabriel told us what to look for. As common as babies are, how often do you see one wrapped in cloths and lying in a manger? Besides, as soon as we laid eyes on it, any doubt we were holding on to just disappeared, just like that. I still feel so overwhelmingly blessed that we got to be there for it.
And why do you think that is?
Excuse me?
Well, I don't mean to be rude, but you're a shepherd. If the Saviour of the world was being born, wouldn't you want kings and rulers and really important people there? I mean, surely that would make a much bigger statement about who you are.
I can't really say what it was that made me worthy to be there. All I can say is I've never seen nothing like it before or since. And I don't mind telling everyone I meet about it. There's no doubt in my mind that that little baby is the Christ, just as Gabriel said he was. Maybe that's why. Because God knew that I would share what I'd witnessed with everyone. I'm sure kings see spectacular things all the time, so what's one more? Anyway, they wanted someone there that was going to share what they'd seen with everyone.
And I suppose it's not the first time that God's used shepherds. I mean, King David used to be a shepherd, didn't he?
I didn't know that.
No? Well, you can read all about it. I wrote an article about it. It's called From Leading Sheeps to Leading Peeps. From Shepherd to King.
Well, I would, but I can't read. Hence why I'm a shepherd.
Oh, right. Well, thanks for your time.
You're welcome. If there's anything else I can ever do for you, just ask.
Yeah, I don't suppose you know anyone else that was there on his birth, do you?
Well, there was a group of guys that came by this way, looking for him fairly early on in his life. They were foreigners. But I got chatting to one of them. He told me how to find him if I was ever in his country. Might be worth chatting to him, getting an outsider's perspective.
That's brilliant. Thanks so much.
You're welcome.
Hey, I saw the sign outside. You're one of the Magi that was there at the birth of Jesus, right?
I'm one of them.
Oh, that's right. There were 3 of you, weren't there?
Well, that seems to be a common misconception. Actually, there were a whole group of us. I don't know where this whole 3 thing came about, but it seems to be quite a common misconception.
I just wanted to hear about your story. One of the shepherds told me where to find you. He said that you wouldn't mind me coming to visit and asking a few questions about your story. I'm writing an article about it. Do you mind if I ask you a few questions?
By all means, ask it.
Great. First of all, I mean, it took me a long time to get down here from Bethlehem. How was it that you heard the word from all the way down here and were able to get there in time for the birth?
I don't know where you keep getting all these misconceptions from. We weren't actually there for the birth.
You weren't?
No, we arrived about a year later.
Fascinating. I mean, it was hard enough for me to follow the trail, and I had people kind of telling me where to go next. I can't imagine how hard it would have been for you to follow the trail with no indication of even when or how to start. How did you know?
Well, it's quite simple. We followed the star.
What do you mean?
The star. We'd been looking at it for some time. When it shone, we knew what it meant.
You keep talking about a star. What star are you talking about?
The star that heralded the new Messiah. We were already looking at it. We already knew what we were looking for, so when we saw it, we knew we had to follow it to the new Messiah.
And it took you straight to Bethlehem?
Well, not straight to Bethlehem. It took us to the location in general, but, well, we were still making assumptions at the time, so we went to the palace.
And presumably you found Herod.
Exactly. In our excitement, we told him what we were doing. That tipped him off to the fact that we were looking for the newborn king.
And how did you take that?
Well, he took it pretty well at first. He gathered all his scholars, his teachers of the law, his priests, and he told them to find where the Messiah would be born. He pointed us, put us on the right direction to Bethlehem, Christ, and told us to report back to him when we found him. We were so thankful for his hospitality. We just accepted his direction to Mary and Joseph.
And what happened when you came across them?
As soon as we saw the baby, we realised his glory. We fell to our knees and started worshipping him, and then we presented him with the gifts we bring.
And then what happened? Did you go back and tell Herod?
No. While we were there, we had a dream, we had a vision of Gabriel. Gabriel's
an angel, I know.
He warned us that Herod had passed an edict ordering all new babies under the age of 2 to be killed.
What? That can't be true.
No, unfortunately it's true. I mean, surely you've heard rumours. Needless to say, we took a different route to avoid having to tell him where Jesus was.
I mean, I know that kings can have a dark side. I mean, I wrote an article about King Saul and all the suspect acts he did. It was called Madness in the Monarchy, but I don't know, Herod always just seems so wholesome. I don't know what to think.
Well, it's true. You should go and speak to Herod yourself. I could grant you diplomatic access.
You'd do that for me?
Of course. You seem conflicted, and I believe that every man has the right to find the truth. The least I can do is help you find it.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate this.
Enter.
Your Majesty.
Yes, yes.
I was just researching a story about a Messiah that was born a couple of years ago, and your name kept coming up, so I was just wondering if I could maybe get your perspective about it.
Ah, yes. I remember that. It happened a year or two ago. We had some delegates visit from another country, saying something about a newborn king. At first, I thought something had been lost in translation. You see, none of my own children were newborn. And even if they were, they wouldn't be kings yet. That title is solely reserved for me, of course.
Yeah, I know how it can be tricky with these translations. I'm not sure if you remember what happened in Babel. I wrote an article about it, you know, about like the tower that they're building.
I don't have time for things like reading the news, I'm afraid. I'm too busy actually ruling.
Yes, of course, Your Majesty, I'm sorry.
Anyway, as I was saying, these so-called wise men kept talking about this new king. Much as I tried to refute them, they insisted. So I called on several righteous and learned men who told me that yes, indeed, a Messiah was to be born in the city of David, that place we now refer to as Bethlehem. Naturally, I sent them on their way and asked that they send me word of what they found. It seemed only right that I know what is happening in my own country, after all.
Of course.
Alas, they never returned to tell me whether any of these rumours were true.
And speaking of rumours,
Yes?
forgive me, Your Majesty, but I've heard some rumours about you involving children under 2. Would you like to comment on that?
Tell me, do you think that I am just?
Just what?
Just. Do you think that I am a just king?
Of course, Your Majesty.
And do you think that I am a good monarch?
I don't know much about what it takes to rule, but yes, I do think you're a good monarch. I mean, you've got my vote, at least you would if I had one.
Now, tell me, do you think that it is easy, or indeed possible, to keep everyone happy?
No, I don't suppose it is really. But you seem to be doing well, as far as I can tell.
How kind of you to say. You do seem very loyal to me.
Of course, Your Majesty. Who else would hold my loyalty? We're so lucky to have you as a king. I mean, I can't fathom what it would take to lead so nobly and wise and justly as you do.
You're right. You cannot fathom it.
Excuse me, Your Majesty?
You cannot fathom what it takes to rule. No one can. That is why I must be king, because I understand what it takes, what is best for this country. As you yourself said, I am just, wise, and the best thing for these people. Unfortunately, not everyone sees it that way. Believe it or not, I have my naysayers. When you are in charge, everybody has some opinion on what you should or shouldn't be doing. Everyone believes that they could do it better than you in some way, that what you are doing is insufficient. There are many who believe me insufficient. They won't say as such to your face, but the rumours are there, the whispers behind your back. Take you, for example. How do I know that you believe what you say? That you won't go behind my back and talk about my perceived incompetence?
Your Majesty, I would never.
There are those who despise me. What do you suppose would happen if they heard word of a new king being born? They would rally behind him. There would be an uprising. There would be chaos. And if that happened, it wouldn't be me who paid the price. It would be the people. And not just those who rebelled, but innocent people. Is that what you want?
No.
No, I think not. So if I have to stamp on the head of rebellion to end it, then that is what I will do, because that is what is needed. Could you do that? Could you make that choice?
No, I don't think I could.
Now, be gone. This interview has gone on long enough.
Yes, Your Majesty. Thank you. Oh, what should I do? What should I do? This whole thing just feels so impossible to me. Everything that I believed in has just fallen apart, and just all the things that I didn't believe in now just make so much more sense to me. It's like the one person I thought I could believe in most just turned out to be a megalomaniac. I don't know, it's just like you live in a house all your life, and then one day someone points out to you that it's crooked, and all you can notice after that is if you put something down in one corner, it just rolls down to the other. And, I don't know. What am I going to do? Let's get some sleep. I always feel a lot better after I've rested a bit. I'll get a few hours of shut-eye, and then maybe in the morning this will all just make a bit more sense to me. Yeah, that's what I'll do.
Hello there.
Oh! Who are you? How did you get in here?
I didn't get in here. I just am here. How's your head?
It hurts. I mean, all my days. That was a hard knock.
Maybe knock some sense into you?
Excuse me?
Do you know how frustrating it is to watch you dance around what's right in front of your face?
You've been watching me?
Oh yes, we've been watching you for a while.
What do you mean, we? Who's we? Who are you?
Do you want to take a guess?
Well, based on the fact that you really are the most beautiful thing I've ever seen, that you've inexplicably got in here when there's no reason how, you seem to know a lot about me that I don't really think you've got any business knowing. Are you Gabriel?
There's hope for you yet.
So, what are you here for? Am I about to get pregnant now?
You always need to have a sharp wit. Bit sharp at times. But still, no, I'm here because you were calling out for help.
No, I wasn't.
Well, not literally, but in your heart you were. We are very good at knowing what's going on internally and responding accordingly. So, what's the ambush about?
I just don't know what to think anymore. Everyone seems to be weaving a story that doesn't make any sense to me, and the one person I thought I could trust more than anyone else, well, they turned out to be not at all the sort of person I thought they were.
That doesn't sound too confusing. Seems pretty straightforward to me.
But how can I turn my back on everything I've built my life on? I mean, I'm not even sure I believe it yet.
Well, I think you do. When you started, you were very jaded to the whole idea. You're different now. I mean, you're standing here having a conversation with me. Well, I'm an angel, so when you said it yourself, then it must be happening. You never would have accepted that even a month ago. You've accepted it as true. All you need to ask is what you're going to do about it.
I just feel so torn. It must be how Solomon felt when he had to make that decision about the baby.
Tiny problems, massive consequences.
You read my article.
I told you, we've been watching you for a while.
Okay, I accept it's true. I want to believe. I mean, I see the difference it makes in other people's lives. I see the difference between Herod and everyone else I met, and I see the difference between them and me, and I want that for myself. I'm just scared. What do I do next?
Well, you've already done the hard part. I think you know what to do next.
Yeah, you're right. Oh, and thank you for everything. Oh, sorry, the door's open.
That's fine, come on in.
Are you Mary?
I certainly am, and who are you?
Oh, my name's Matt. I think I spoke to your husband recently.
Ah yes, he told me about you. I must admit though, he described you as a lot more brash as you're coming across now, unless you're a different reporter that's been here before?
No, that is me, although I suppose I am a different person about your husband. I guess I've just been exploring this story and I just feel like it's changed everything about me. Does that make any sense to you?
As crazy as it sounds, it does.
When I met your husband, I had no idea the story I was exploring. I was so naive, I didn't realise how monumentally life-changing this thing was going to be.
And what thing is that?
You, him, the baby, all of it. It's just so...
Miraculous?
Yeah, and so many other things. I'm at a complete loss for words.
That might be problematic for a reporter.
Oh, don't worry, I'll find the words. I just feel like everyone I know and everyone I don't know just needs to hear about this. It's so monumental. Just everyone needs to know.
I know the feeling.
What was it like carrying a baby? Just so special.
It was hard. It was noisy, messy, scary, not to mention all the rumours and speculation that were going around about me. But it was worth it in the end.
I don't get it. That's how every parent describes the birth of their kid. I guess I would have just thought it'd be different.
To be honest with you, there were times when I just saw him as my son. It was easy to forget who he was.
But surely he was different.
Oh, he was, but when you know him so intimately, it was easy to forget that part of him. He's just so human. It's not at all like I thought God would be, even God on earth. Besides, when it's your first child, you've got nothing to compare it to, so everything feels usual.
So he's just been growing up like a normal kid?
Oh, I wouldn't say that. I mean, he's been growing up like a normal kid, but that's kind of the point of him being human, isn't it? But every now and again, he shows us just a little part of who he really is.
Really? Like what?
Well, he's incredibly insightful. There's things that he'll have no way of knowing about, and then he'll just come up to me and ask a question that just pierces to the very heart of what I'm thinking about or feeling. He's so curious, but shows off so much wisdom and understanding that, frankly, are beyond me. I don't know how he does it, but he just really gets scripture and has a real natural and deep understanding of who he is.
And is that a conversation you've ever had with him? About who he is and where he's from?
We talked about it, but we could hardly comprehend it ourselves. How are we supposed to explain that to a child? Anyway, every year we talked about how to broach the subject with him, but every year we found excuses not to, and every year he was growing.
Yeah, I suppose he must be pretty big by now.
Yeah, but not just in stature, he was growing in wisdom as well. Anyway, before we could bring it up with him, he brought it up with us himself.
And how did you do that?
We go to Jerusalem for Passover every year, and one year we were about halfway back to Nazareth and we realised that we'd left Jesus behind. We raced back to Jerusalem and we searched everywhere but we couldn't find him. Eventually we found him in the temple and he admonished us for not looking for him in his father's house.
Wow, he went there all out by himself?
As far as we could tell.
That's incredible.
He sure is. Would you like to meet him?
That would be amazing. Come in.
Hey, I see someone's back on form.
Yeah, it's the story. It's just really unlocked something in me ever since I got back.
I can see that. 12,000 words already? Goodness, that's good even for you.
I'm telling you the story. It's just amazing.
Well, you got over your writer's block. Good on you, man. That's great.
No, this isn't about writer's block. This story changed my life. I feel like the whole world needs to know about it.
Well, it's the spirit. You always were ambitious with your articles, Matt, and, well, you must have high expectations if you're expecting the whole world to read it. So, are you angling for some awards?
Oh, no, this isn't about awards.
Oh, come off it. You're always about the awards. And you got so close to that last one, the article about the widow who ended up with the richest husband around. What's it called?
No, this just...
Beauty and the Boaz. That was a good one.
Look, this is so much more important than that. It's not about writing, it's not about stories, it's not about articles or being the best.
Not about... What? You're not sounding like yourself, Matt. What's gone into you?
Oh, of course I'm not sounding like myself. I'm not myself. Or maybe I am myself for the first time. But I'm not the me I was before I left.
What are you talking about?
Okay, have you ever met someone and in that moment just your whole life changed? Like you've got all these tethers in your life that are holding you down and keeping you grounded, and then in one instant then just all those things are cut away and replaced by this new thing that's just so much more than that. And even though it's just now one tether, that tether is just so much stronger than all the other ones combined. Have you ever felt like that?
I don't know. Maybe. Hang on, you trying to tell me that you've fallen in love?
No. Yes, maybe. I don't know. Look, I think love's a part of it, but I think even the biggest part of it, but it's somehow different to that. It's like even calling it love just feels so insufficient for the way I feel.
Are you sure you're okay? Did you hit your head?
No, yes, but no, that's not what this is about.
Look, you're not making any sense. Just take it from the top and walk me through slow.
Okay, I think I've met him.
Him? Who's him?
The Messiah, the King, the one we've been waiting for.
Hang on. I don't know we were waiting for anybody, and I didn't think you believed all this prophet stuff anyway.
Well, I didn't when I left, but I don't know, there's something about the story. I don't think anyone could meet him and not change their mind about it.
Well, I'm a bit dubious about this.
Oh, you wouldn't be saying that if you could meet him. That's it. Why don't we go and meet him?
What now?
Yeah, why not?
Well, it's the middle of the day. I can't just take off and go visit some kid.
Of course you can. You're the boss. You can do what you like. Okay, why don't you just come and see, and if it doesn't change your life, that's fine. But what have you got to lose from trying? I really think this is going to make a huge difference.
All right. Let's do it. Let's go. Let's go see him.
You will not regret this. Thank you so much for watching our nativity this year. It was a lot of fun to make. And while there wasn't actually a reporter at the time, and I don't even think newspapers existed at the time of Jesus' birth, actually a lot of this story is based in something that we believe to be really true. And a lot of the language that's even used in those different characters reflect a lot of the language that's used in the Bible to tell the story. So maybe you learned something new, maybe you knew it all already, but the thing we really want you guys to leave with is kind of what happened to my character throughout that story. So the idea is that it was written that as my character gets closer and closer to encountering Jesus for the first time, you see his perception, his view on the world start to change. He starts off very sceptical, very jaded, and as he goes through these different people who have met with Jesus in different ways, he starts to wrestle with what that means for his own life. When he sees the difference that makes for them versus people like him and Herod who maybe don't have that same belief in who Jesus is. He starts to make a change in the way he lives his life, and you see that really come to fruition at the end of the story. And the reason that we wanted to tell you this story in this way is because we believe that's still true today. When you meet with Jesus the way that my character did, you start to see life in a different way. You can transform in the same way that he did across that story. And that's something that we really love to see happen. So maybe it's something that you're not sure about, maybe you're curious about this, but if it's a tool, spark some questions or curiosity, please head over to our website, so all the links will be in the doobly-doo down below. Just let us know, reach out to us, we'd love to hear from you. And the reason we'd love to hear from you is because we know that people are on the same journey that my character was on as well. So, and I'm not sure if you noticed, but every scene in that play started with a knock. So sometimes it was a knock on the door, in one of the scenes it was a knock on the head, and that's because the Bible uses this language of people knocking and searching, and about how when we stand on that door and we knock for Jesus, he answers us and he wants to let us in and come to know us. And that's the journey that character was on. And you can even see in that final scene with the editor at the end, it's the editor that's now knocking and he wants to see Jesus. And my character to the editor makes that invitation to come and see. And that's an invitation that Jesus makes for all of us, to come and see the way that he lives his life and to see for yourself what that looks like and how that can look for you. So we just really want to encourage you all, if this is something that's at all of interest to you, just to reach out to us, and we would love to hear from you and help you with any further questions or thoughts you have about any of that. But thank you so much for watching, and God bless you all this Christmas.
The sun comes out from a sea of clouds. I shed my disguise and laugh out loud. I am sure that someday soon we'll all be just fine. And I hear a choir of angels on a dead-end street. The faces of children make me believe that someday